Coming up, I'm going to share 5 steps to help you break free from the 9-to-5 mentality. And then employers are taking advantage of side hustling slashers. I'll tell you what it is and how you can jump in it. And I coach you up. Let's go. Helping you win at work and in life so you're making more money and experiencing more meaning. I'm Ken. Welcome to the show. All right, the 9-to-5 job, the 9-to-5 mentality. We're going to take that on today, and it's kind of fun because here we sit in the shadows of the Music City and probably the high priestess of the Music City. I just decided to make that up. Dolly Parton, who I had the privilege of interviewing years ago. Joe Hankin, who's in the booth today. You remember that, Joe? We had Dolly on the original version of the Ken Coleman Show.
Absolutely.
Down in Gainesville, Georgia. It was a real treat. And she was promoting the renovation and the redo of Dollywood. And I just wanted to interview her, so I said, sure. So I had her on for a segment. It was a lot of fun. Well, she's very well known for a song, 9-to-5. And, you know, Dolly, everybody loves Dolly. She's got the juice. She's awesome. Everybody loves Dolly. She's so positive. But I've said this on the show before. If you are young and you have no idea what the song 9-to-5 is, you need to go check it out. And you need to actually listen to the lyrics. It is one of the most dark, depressing songs you've ever heard. But because it's Dolly Parton singing it, and the melody's fun and the beat's fun, you kind of like 9-to-5 in your spells. But it is a very depressing song. And that's why I want to take on this 9-to-5 mentality, because the 9-to-5 mentality is depressing. Here's what I wrote in my notes today. When you think in terms of a 9-to-5 job and that's your world, you've got to stop looking at your week like I got to fill this obligation. This 9-to-5, 40-hour week, 45, 50-hour week, whatever's required of me, and I just got to fill it. I just got to get through it. You got to stop filling a slot and start filling your heart. And let's just look historically where the 9-to-5 comes from, because I also want to say something that might be a tad controversial today. I don't think anybody actually works 40 hours. I mean, do they? Go look at the stats. Go on the Google and just see how many hours the average American employee wastes during the day. It's pretty wild. That's Facebook, social media, talking to friends in the office, taking a little extra time at lunch. Nobody works 40 hours a week. Nobody. So you got your time wasters, and then you got people who work more than 40 hours a week. They're going above and beyond. So all you quiet quitters out there who you say that with smug dignity, like you're better than everybody else who works hard and goes after it. Oh, you're trying to please the man. I'm not going to please the man. The man's taking advantage of me. I'm a quiet quitter. I'm only going to do what is required of me. I got news for you. The data says you're wasting close to 2 hours a day. So you're not working 9-to-5. So as now we get that out of the way, the historical context for a 9-to-5 came from a true innovator, one of the great American inventors, Henry Ford. In 1926, Henry Ford's paying attention to the world, and he's going, we got a problem here. People were expected to work 80 hours a week. There was no expectation of what a work week looked like. It was, I've got to do this in order to get a paycheck. That was it. That was the context. So Henry Ford, the innovator that he is, he's looking at his team at Ford Motors, and he says, you know what? In our manufacturing plants, we're pushing these people too hard. And so he comes up with the idea of a 9-to-5 schedule. And thus, we have your 40-hour work week. Now, on this show, because I want to truly live up to my title as man of the people, I warn you, I inform you. And I've told you that the 4-day work week is being tested in America. There's a huge study that's in a 6-month study, in Great Britain right now. Autonomy is the new word. You're going to see it. You're going to see this rub between companies that want to bring people back in full time and people who want to be remote. You're going to see the middle ground, which I think is probably going to be the predominant style of work in the next decade, and that's hybrid. But let's get beyond that. Let's get beyond the context and the borders or the boundaries by which we view our work week. Are we trying to fill a schedule to get a check, or are we trying to make a contribution to experience meaning? Whoa. Now, those are two different realities. So how do you break free from the 9 to 5 mentality that I just look at work as this thing I do to fill a time slot? There's 5 ways to break free. First, you must be clear, aware of what you do best. What do you do best? I mean, you might do some things average or slightly above average, but what do you do well? What do you love to do is the second item we've got to get really aware on. What do I love to do? What work that when somebody tells me, hey, we need you to do this, the possibility of doing that work excites you? What work, what task, what role that when you're in the middle of it, time seems to disappear? You're in a state of flow. What results really fire you up? They motivate you. See, I can do some work around my house that makes my wife happy, and then I could do some work around my house that makes me happy. It's two different things. If my wife goes, hey, Ken, this has got to get done, and I'm doing that to make her happy. But there are some things I like to do that make me happy. I'll tell you, one is blowing leaves. It's some neurotic problem, but I really get great enjoyment out of blowing leaves. And so in that simple example, it's the same idea in your work world. What work do you really actually create results that you go, I see the end of my work and I go, that pleases me. This is core emotion. Fourth, once you get an idea of how all 3 of those can come together, how can I spend most of my day using what I do really well, those skills, the experience I have, to do something that I really enjoy that produces a result that fires me up? That's a job description. Where can I do that? Now I pick my path. And I'm oversimplifying this because we make this too complex. The 5th is to then move forward on the path. We don't teach this in schools. Hey, if you want to break free from this idea that work's a 4-letter word, and it's just something you have to do and it's got a bitter taste in your mouth, here's what you do. Use what you do best to do what you love, to produce results that you care about. That's it. That's how we break free. We begin to see things we've never seen before. We begin to believe that we can do it. Now, we created a great tool called the Get Clear Assessment. It's $30, kencoleman.com, 20 minutes or less, that'll fill in the gaps. Is your future worth $20? Is it worth $30? Is it worth $1,000? We'll give it to you for $30. I should charge you more, but it's that good. The Get Clear Assessment. Go get it.
You were created to fill a unique role through your work, but it can feel overwhelming to figure out what that is. That's why I created the Get Clear Career Assessment. In just 15 minutes, you'll get customized results that clarify what you do best, the work you love to do, and the results that motivate you. All this helps you discover what you were born to do. And you'll get a list of professional possibilities to help you in your job search. To get started, go to kencoleman.com/assessment.
Helping you get unstuck so that you become unstoppable in pursuing what you were born to do. I'm Ken, of the people, by the people, for the people. I want you to feel the confidence that comes from extreme clarity. And it's just by showing up every day. And for those of you that show up on the show, man, we're growing, and I want to say a big thank you. And you've responded. You're the greatest marketing strategy in the world to just say, I listen to the Ken Coleman Show, and I'm going to give him a 5-star review wherever you listen to podcasts. Subscribe or follow is what they call it now. Follow and share it with somebody that you feel needs it. And then if you're watching on YouTube, subscribe and share. All of those are very easy to do. And we're growing, and we want to get this message that every person on the planet has value. We want to get it into everybody's hands that we possibly can and help people make this world a better place. All right, time to inform you. And boy, this is very interesting. Some of you entrepreneurial people, you're going to really like this. This is an Inc. Magazine article. Here's the headline. Side hustling slashers are on the rise, and employers are taking advantage. Now, I will tell you, when I first read this, kind of cocked my head sideways like, I don't know how I feel about this. But as I really dove into it and began to think about it, I thought, there's something here. So for those of you who are already that side hustle type person, like you're just always finding yourself either thinking about a side hustle or you've been engaged in side hustles throughout your professional career, or maybe you're younger. And boy, this younger generation, Gen Z, the most entrepreneurial generation we've ever seen as far as the polls that say they are super, super interested in starting a business either right out of high school or in the near future. So what is slashing? This is engaging in several vocations simultaneously. Now, not a new phenomenon, but we got a new term every day, right? Like quiet quitting, quiet hiring. We got a new term every day. And slash careers are on the rise. According to a recent survey from software company Zapier, 40% of Americans dabbled in a side hustle in 2022. Now, that's up from 34% in December of 2020. Not surprising. If anything, I would have thought the number would be higher given what we saw out of the pandemic. So we saw a lot of people start businesses as a result of the pandemic. So the thing that I kind of turned my head sideways on is that if you're hiring people who have one or two side hustles, then by definition, their focus is divided. And so that was like, And then I realized, we have a lot of people doing side hustles here at Ramsey because they're trying to live what we teach, to get out of debt, to live like no one else. So, you got to love a side hustle. So that's when I said, you know what? There's something to this. So why is it beneficial for companies to hire people with side hustles, or otherwise known as slashers, which, by the way, it's such a horrible word. It's so violent. It makes me uncomfortable, but maybe that's my neurosis. Daniel Snow and Jonathan Snow, 29 and 32 years of age, founders of Florida-based digital marketing agency, The Snow Agency, which hit number 47 on the Inc. Magazine 5000. These are the top small businesses in America. They say they make a habit of hiring employees with multiple professional identities. They say knowing each employee's skills and interests up front, outside of what they do, helps them connect people to the right projects. They go on to say that it's really important to understand that they've got hobbies or side hustles outside because we incorporate that. So let's say we have a client who wants to do a campaign related to boxing or makeup. If one of our employees has a side hustle or a really intense hobby in those areas, we're going to assign them to that account. Makes total sense. Why? The age-old reality that connections matter. Connecting to humans. We have something in common. We have better conversation. We have better conversation. We have a better connection. All right. Well, they talked to some more. Here's a couple things I'm going to roll through quickly. The multitasking. That was, again, a concern that I had, right? Multi-focus, multitasking. I'm not a multitasker. I have ADHD. That's a whole different problem, all right? So, but, is multitasking, is it a talent? Yes. Is it a distraction? Yes. But if we focus on the talent side of it, these slashers, see, somebody's going to listen to this today and go, what is he talking about every time I say slashers? I'm going to stop saying it. These people with side hustles, boy, that sounds so much better. Well, see, they're well accustomed to juggling a lot. So it really is a skill for them. They've got a full-time job. They've got a side hustle. They're making money, right? Presumably, they've got relationship responsibilities. So they really have developed a skill set to be able to balance a lot. And so that makes them more efficient in the office. Turns out they have strong time management skills. This is what 47 Samurai, which is number 738 on the Inc. 5000, their executives say, we like the strong time management skills that these type of employees bring to us. Steve Cody is the founder of a New York-based public relations firm called Peppercom. And he said that these type of employees who have multiple or one side hustle, they provide unique perspectives because they're constantly having to look at things quickly and from a different perspective because they are the chief everything officer of their own gig. I think it's a very, very, very good insight there. You know, let me tell you something. I think it was 2021 that LinkedIn said, it was either 2020 or 2021, as memory serves. LinkedIn said that the most attractive skill for hiring managers that they were looking for was adaptability. Now, adaptability, yes, it's a skill, a soft skill. Can I just tell you what it is? It's an attitude. It's an attitude that says, change is here. You don't get to decide if you're going to accept change. You want to take your ball and go home, then that's fine. But change is here. So what do we do? And that is the attitude of adaptability. So these people are adaptive on steroids because of everything they got going on. And then here's the final quality that I think is really, really interesting. They have grit, determination, adaptability. And those people are a very valuable asset in any time of uncertainty and disruption. This is a statement from Evan Horowitz, CEO of a California-based company. It's not that we're looking for people with side hustles, but we're looking for tenacious people who thrive in ambiguity. And that's what our company's pace of growth demands. Now, how do you grow the skill of adaptability? By putting yourself in forced environments of change. I mean, you have to develop a muscle for it, just like you would if you're going to go work out. Say, okay, I want to increase the size of my shoulders or whatever. I want to get my legs in shape, whatever. If that's the goal, then you've got to go do the weights, the resistance. You put yourself in a place of resistance. That's what weight training is. It is the resistance. I'm stepping into this forced pain, forced challenge, to then develop a muscle. And I got to tell you something, whether you want to get into side hustling or not, but if you're trying to differentiate yourself in today's workplace, I would be leading with conversations in the interview process, on your resume, everything, talking about your adaptability and how you thrive in moments of change. Because leaders look at that and say, I don't have to worry about attitudes when we got to deal with change. I just tell them we got to change, and they're going to figure it out. And that makes you very, very attractive. Don't move. More show coming right up.
If the thought of attending a networking event makes you break out in hives, you're not alone. And I'll let you in on a secret. Networking in the traditional sense doesn't work, but genuine connection is all about relationships. That's why we created Networking the Right Way. This free guide is the low-pressure, high-impact way to overcome the awkwardness, build real relationships, and turn your connections into opportunities. To get the guide, go to kencoleman.com/network.
All right, how many of you out there are thinking about quitting? I'm just waiting for a moment, wherever you are, however you're listening. You don't have to raise your hand, because as soon as I asked that question, you immediately registered a mental response. For those of you who aren't thinking about quitting, think back to the most recent memory you have of when you quit. Why'd you quit? Think about that. Well, this is really important because there are so many headlines in the news today about layoffs. And this is just what the news does. They live and breathe on scaring you, right? Well, let me just tell you something. Most of the layoffs we've seen in the last 3 months have been in the technology sector. And if you look at historical trends over the last 20 years, it's less. These are normal, rhythmic layoffs. This is not a new thing. I've been telling you this. This is what big-time tech companies do. When things are great, they hire. They expand. And the first hint of the evil R word, recession, or potential threats to the stock price, they dump. That's what they do. They hire up and they dump. That's just what they do. They don't care. They do not care about your feelings. They care about the facts related to what they got to tell their shareholders. Now, this is just a fact. They can be real nice about it. Of course, we've been reporting on the fact that Google laid people off and they found out when their key card didn't work. Google. Shame on you. Well, there are 3 major reasons why good people quit. And I know I'm talking to mostly good people. So let's look at this because this is very important. And I'm doing a deep dive right now. In fact, I'm writing on this. And hopefully in the next couple of months, we'll have a really fun short book out on this, on quitting. Stay tuned. But one study found that nearly half of employees surveyed had quit because of a bad leader. Duh. Almost 2/3 believe their manager lacked proper managerial training. Duh. That's the problem. We live in a country where we just promote people into leadership. They don't even want to lead. They haven't been trained to lead, which is not the end of the world, but you got to at least train them. But we don't do that. What do? We just promote them. Hey, you're doing a good job. Hey, Fred, you're doing a great job in sales. So now we're going to turn you into a leader of a sales team. Fred's going, I don't want to do it. I like selling. Well, Fred, we really need you to do it. Way to go, Fred. And Fred gets a gold watch, and Fred gets a bonus. He gets a raise. And all of a sudden, Fred feels like an idiot if he turns it down. So it's still the leader. Gallup has determined through decades of data, and we're talking millions of interviews, that 70% of team engagement is determined solely by the leader. 70%. It's incredible. So those of you who want to lead, understand that there is huge opportunity for you to be a great leader. And let's just take the pressure off. You don't have to be this world-class strategist to be a good leader. All you got to do is care for people. You don't have to be the smartest in the room. You do not have to be the most powerful personality in the room. They got to know that you care about them enough to listen to them, to see them, to recognize them, to reward them. And here's the last piece, help them. As I've said before, I'll say it again. If you're brand new to leadership, or you've got a leadership opportunity in front of you and you're going, I'm intimidated, Ken. I feel like an imposter. I don't know if I can do it. Yes, you can. Here's 2 questions that you ask every week to every direct report. Number 1, how are you doing? You got to know enough about their personal life to say, hey, how's your kid doing? I understand he had surgery on his foot. How's he doing? Or, hey, I understand your wife, her mom is struggling. How's she doing? This is a personal question. Not professional at all. It's personal. But watch what happens. When I'm asking the question, how are you doing? And I see them, they felt seen, and then they feel cared for. Now watch. They begin to trust me. And that leads to the second question. And this question can only be answered once you establish the trust that the first question does for you. Second question is, how can I help you win? Now let's just remove my first question. If they don't feel cared for and known, do you think they're going to look at you and say to that second question, how can I help you win? You think they're going to look at you and go, hey, listen, I just finished my 3-week training and I didn't get some of the stuff. I feel like I need a little bit more training. I don't feel like I'm getting that. Do you think they're going to tell you that? If they don't trust you? They're not. You know why? Because if they don't trust you, they don't believe that you want the best for them. And so if they admit weakness or deficiency, they're afraid you might fire them. But if they know you value them and they know that you care for them, they're going to look at you and go, yeah, I'm struggling. Thank you for asking. Here's where I need your help. They will not be leaders. You're scratching your head. I just don't feel like I get my team. I don't feel like my team's telling me. I don't feel like my team's being transparent. You know what? It's not their fault. It's your fault. They don't trust you. Period. Second reason that people quit, good people quit. They don't see an opportunity for growth. I'm going to tell you something right now. Leaders, you want to lose good people? Put a lid on them. My friend and mentor John Maxwell wrote a book called The 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership, and one of the laws is the law of the lid. Let me tell you something. You want to squelch somebody, a high performer? You want to run them out and die? Like, hey, here's the ultimate passive-aggressive leadership play. You weak, puny, pathetic leaders, I don't think they're listening to this show, but maybe this will get out on YouTube. You want to manipulate somebody that's a really good person? Put a lid on them. They'll leave. Because they're going to look at you and go, you don't see my potential. You don't believe in me. I don't think there's an opportunity here. I've hit my lid. And a performer, man, they come in and it does not take long. They keep hitting this. They're going to go, I'm out. Why? Because it's one of the essentials to human performance. I must be challenged. I must be learning. I must be growing. If I'm not learning, I'm not growing, I'm dying. Period. And then the third issue why good people don't leave is they can make better money other places. Now, leaders, if you get the growth piece, the second element right, then the money's going to go with that. So if you're developing people by training them and investing in them and then watching them take new challenges and new ground for you and your team and the company. Listen, they're going to generate the revenue necessary for you to pay them. But leaders get this all backwards. Well, I don't know if I'm going to be able to pay them. Why don't you let them perform and watch them generate their own raise? It's abundant thinking versus scarcity thinking. That's what's really going on. So quick review. If you're not in an environment where you don't have a leader who is invested in you, who you can trust, who is actively looking for a growth plan, a trajectory, new ground for you to take, and it's not being measured and rewarded with more money, I got news for you. You need to quit. And I'm here to help. Life is too short to be stuck in a place that diminishes you and demeans you. This is the Ken Coleman Show.
So you just landed the new job. Congratulations. You've made it past the interviews and now it's time to onboard with excellence. That's why I created How to Stand Out at Your New Job. This free checklist will help you succeed from day one and may even help you get promoted. These practical steps set you up to add value, help your team win, exceed your leaders' expectations, and ultimately set you up for a successful transition. To get started, just go to kencoleman.com/new.
Coaching you up so that you can do what you were born to do. I'm Ken, man of the people. Let's go to Christy. Oh, north of the border. I love this. Toronto, Canada. Christy, you're on the Ken Coleman Show.
Hi, Ken. How are you?
I'm living the dream. You have to pardon my voice. I'm trying to keep it going here for a couple more segments. But other than that, I'm having a blast.
I hope you feel better soon.
I feel fine. It's just my voice. It's like,
Gotcha.
it's pathetic. So, but I'm here for you. What's up?
Good stuff. Okay, so my question is, how do I know whether or not to change my career? Or how do I kind of navigate that decision?
Yeah. Well, I love this question. I think you already know. And I think you've called me to get my opinion on what you think you know. Is that fair?
Okay, that's quite possible.
All right. So let's just have some fun with this. Do you think you need to change?
Do I think I need to change? Okay, there's a difference between do I think I need to change or do I think I want to change?
No, I disagree. See, now I know what's going on with you, Christy, and welcome to the Overanalyzing Club. I'm the chairman.
Woohoo!
I'm right, aren't I?
Yeah, probably.
Let me just tell you something. There ain't no difference between need and want. Because if I want to, I need to. You feel what I'm saying? We're talking about the heart.
Yep,
so,
I do.
Christy, you dialed me up today.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to get into how do I know that I want to change careers. You want to. That's why you called me today, yes or no?
That's true.
That's true. I know. I've done this a time or two. So, what do you want to change to?
Okay. So, I guess what it boils down to is I kind of want both what I'm doing now and what I want to do next. So,
Chrissy, you're doing it again. You're thinking, and I need you to stop thinking. Now, I'm going to ask super simple questions. It's okay.
Okay.
I don't need context. You're the 7,000th person I've talked to on the air before. I've talked to you before. You just have a different name. All right, now answer my question. What is the thing you want to move into? Answer that. No context, go.
Economics.
Economics. Be more specific. What are you doing in economics? What do you want to do?
Policy advising.
You want to do policy advising for who? Keep saying it. Stop thinking.
The government.
Great.
Yeah, national level.
Wonderful. Gosh, that was so easy.
You're not wrong.
So what is keeping you from doing that?
Okay. Right now, I'm pursuing more of an artsy career.
A what?
An artsy career that allows me a lot of flexibility that I really like. And I see both paths going forward, and both end goals feel appealing.
Yeah, but stop. Yeah. The person who chases two rabbits loses both of them. Do you agree with that old saying? Yeah, well, so what are we doing here? I'm going to go back to the start of the call.
Okay.
Because I got 2 minutes with you, and I got to make it count. You would rather serve your country on a national level. You would rather do that than you would this artsy stuff. It's not even close. You just love the flexibility.
No, I want to be an actor.
You want to be a what?
I want to be an economist, an actor.
You want to be an actor who's an economist?
No. I want to be an actor, and that's my path, and that's what I'm doing, or I want to be an economist. They're totally like polar opposites.
I know they are, but you didn't call me and ask me about acting. The thing you called about, true. I know. You're doing it again, and I cannot help you if you don't listen to your heart. Now, you called, and my experience tells me, I don't mind if I'm wrong. My experience tells me you called about the economist thing because you wanted permission, because you feel like an imposter, because all you've ever done is the art stuff and the acting stuff, and you're actually good at it. but your heart is telling you, I want to go do this, but your head's going, we haven't done that before.
I see.
Am I right?
That
Okay,
sounds...
listen. Here's what's happening. You're having a wrestling match between your head and your heart. Your heart says, I want to go serve my country. I love numbers, the economy. I want to do all that. But all I've ever done is this over here. So you've got this wrestling match, and we solve the wrestling match by saying, what does the heart want you to do? The heart wants to do the economist. So now you got to go, well, what does it take to climb that mountain? And that's scaring you to death. And so fear doesn't feel rational. So we have to overcome fear. So what we got to do is figure out what's the path to becoming an economist. How do I get there? How long will that take? What's it going to cost me time and money? And now I can go do that. Hang on the line. I'm going to give you my book, From Paycheck to Purpose.
Did you know that just like a product, you have a personal brand? It's the image or impression others form about you based on your interactions. And whether we realize it or not, our personal brand impacts opportunities to grow in our careers. That's why our team created the Personal Brand Survey. It's free, and it will give you personal and professional feedback so you can own your strengths and uncover any blind spots holding you back. To get started, go to kencoleman.com/brand.
Coaching you up. I am Ken. I am your counselor, coach, cheerleader, friend, and host of the Ken Coleman Show. Vanessa is up next in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, home of the Steelers. Vanessa, you're on the Ken Coleman Show.
Hi, Ken.
Vanessa.
Thank you so much for having me.
I'm thrilled. I got to ask, do you have a terrible towel?
No, I don't. I'm not into that.
You're not into that. Okay, very good.
No.
All right. What's going on?
So I am working in a job right now that I like. There are elements about it that I really like, and
What
I
is
have
that?
my passions. I'm working as a tailor in training.
A tailor in training. And what do you like about that? What parts do you really like?
I like that. I like the sewing part. I like sewing the garments. I like doing fittings for customers and talking to them about how their clothing is supposed to fit and doing all of that, the measurements and all of that.
Okay, very cool. All right, you keep going, but that's important information, I think. So I wrote that down.
Yes.
All right, keep going.
And I have other passions as well, which I know what they are.
Tell me.
And I'm really into photography, anything related to like media. I studied media as my bachelor's degree. So I'm really into, I don't do much of it right now.
Be
I do
more
a little bit of
specific.
photography.
Be more specific. Because when you say media, I know what you mean, but I want you saying, I want to write this down. Like what parts of media
Sure.
get you excited?
Photography, video, and
What about
and
editing?
writing.
Okay, writing. Okay.
And editing, yes.
Yeah, I thought so. Okay,
Yes.
keep going. All right, so now what is that? What are we trying to figure out?
Well, I also am into music. I sing and I make some music. So that's another thing that I do. And I don't know if that's just a hobby that may take off one day.
We'll get to that.
Or if I should just, okay.
Yeah, I like this. This is great information. Okay, so what's the challenge that I can help you with today?
So I'm trying to figure out if what I want to take my career to the next level. And I feel like there's something else more that I want to do, like something a little bit just bigger, on a bigger scale.
Without question.
Yeah.
But you know what it is? I think you're trying to figure out what mountain you want to climb. There's a lot of mountains that you're kind of going, I like that mountain. I like this mountain. Oh, gosh.
Yeah.
There's another mountain over there. That's what's going on. And that's okay. You're getting locked up on that because you feel like, oh, crap. If I pick the wrong mountain.
Yep.
And you're just so here's the
I'm
deal.
sorry.
No, don't
Yeah.
be sorry. So here's what I'm hearing. The thing that I want to repeat some stuff to you, then I'm going to ask a question, okay? I wrote down what you love most about tailoring is the sewing, the fittings, the listening to the customer, how I want that suit to fit. I'm going to tell you something right now. I know exactly how I want my suit to fit. I know exactly how I want my pants to have one break at the top of the shoe. You feeling me, Vanessa? You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
You like that. There's an artistic play to that because you're listening to the customer saying, here's how I want my clothes to fit. And you're catching a vision for that. Then you fit them and then you sew it to the specifications. But I see an artistic task there. Am I saying that right?
Yes.
Because that is why you like photography. I go out,
Yes.
I see something, I want to capture it in the most beautiful way. Or somebody says, I want a photo, and they begin to tell you, here's what I want out of the photo. It's the same experience. Now I wrote down videography and editing. Again, it's a collective. I'm collecting information from the customer about what they want, and then I create it. I collect information about what they want out of the photo, or I collect information on my own, and I see a sunset, and I go, oh, that's beautiful. What if I shot it from this way or this way? You're collecting, and then you're creating. This is what I saw. Does that sound right?
Yes.
Same thing with writing. I've written 3 books. I'm writing a 4th. I'm collecting information, and then I'm creating out of the collection. So here's my point. I want you to have terrific confidence that whatever mountain you choose to climb, Vanessa, it's the right mountain. And if you want to climb this mountain and then you want to get off that mountain and climb another one, it's okay. Because here's what we're looking at. It's not that you're making a right decision or wrong decision on the mountain. The right decision is based on, am I collecting and am I creating with what I'm collecting? Does that make sense?
Yes.
Oh, good.
And
how does that feel?
That's what I want to do is I want to create. It feels great.
Right. So what do you want to create most? Let's go through the list and let's just for these few minutes together be okay with what we say because we can change it. But I want you to speak from the heart. I think that out of this list, Vanessa, a creative person always has something that's a little higher up the list they'd like to create than the others. What is it for you?
Images, like fashion images, is really interests me.
Great. Now, here's what I want you to do. You have to trust your heart on that. And so what we start to do is, Vanessa, in your world, in your zip code, where you are today, you've got to start doing that. Now, I know what your head's saying. Ken, how do I get paid doing that? Well, here's the reality. That a lot of young people, and quite frankly, people of all ages, have a hard time processing this. You may not get paid for it right away. Might take a while.
Yeah.
But is it worth it?
Well, I have 2 study programs that I'm thinking about going back to school, and they're really pricey. And I just don't know if I should take that step, and I don't know which program to choose.
I don't think you should. I don't think there's one program. Is it through a traditional 4-year degree?
It's a master's degree.
No, you do not need a master's to take photographs of fashion.
What about for design?
I don't think you need it for design either. I think it's about, do you have the talent? Can you do the work? Can you start to get odd jobs and side jobs and things of that nature and work your way up? Let me give you an example from my own journey. Vanessa, I was 33 years of age when I realized that I wanted to go into radio and television broadcasting, and I had never done any of it.
Wow.
I didn't go to school. In fact, this is not a secret. Probably new for you, Vanessa, but I don't have a degree at all. I left college early to go into politics and did so well at it that at 22, I was working for the governor of Virginia and still didn't have my degree. And I decided, well, I'm not going back to get that degree. Why would I go back and sit there for 12 more credit hours and take upper level government courses? And so then when I'm 33, I go, I don't have the time or the money. I got 3 kids. I got a mortgage. I got to work full time. I don't have the time or the money to go get a broadcasting degree. And I looked at several people in the field and I realized they didn't have a broadcasting degree. And I said, you know what? I don't need a degree. I just need to be good. Now, how is it that I go about getting good at broadcasting? Well, one of the things I did was I paid a radio station $250 for 1 hour on a Saturday afternoon at 2 o'clock. And I went in there and sucked. You hear me?
Yeah.
I paid a radio station $250 to suck. And I
Wow.
embraced the suck. And I started learning how to do radio. Now, you don't need a master's degree. You don't need a degree. You know what you need? Here's your homework assignment. You ready to go? Here's your
Ready.
homework assignment. I want you to make a list before you go to bed tonight of the fashion photographers that inspire you, that you love. You got it? That's homework assignment number 1. Start digesting everything they do, their Instagram accounts, their YouTube pages. Read every book they've written on photography and fashion. You become a student of people that do it well. And then you go buy a little book called Steal Like an Artist by Austin Kleon. I've interviewed him several times. He's out of Austin, Texas. It's a fabulous little book. You need to read that book. Those are your 2 homework assignments. And then you just go, go, go.
Okay.
Don't stop. Don't ever stop. Ever. I got to get a throat lozenge. This is the Ken Coleman Show. Press on.
Thanks for listening to the Ken Coleman Show. For more, you can find the show on demand wherever you listen to podcasts and watch the show on YouTube. You can also find Ken across all social media by following @Ken Coleman.